nationalism, you see Christians seeking political power everywhere to enforce a Christian culture over America. In its wake, you see destructive violence unleashed with self-righteousness. You see ugly racism and misogyny either ignored or defended in the name of God. It is all an unconscionable mess. As a result, many of us are shaking our heads, disillusioned with a Christianity gone sour. We cannot trust the church anymore. We've been watching a parade of abusive leaders fall, one church at a time, wreaking irreparable damage on our institutions and our witness. Our churches and their leaders have become notorious as abusers of power. We want to reject those forms of power, but we still need power. We don't know what to do with power. It is this cultural moment that begs for a reckoning with power. We need to take an inventory of what has been happening. It's time to move beyond the bandages that seek to hold our institutions together by managing the power better each time we go through an episode of a scandalous leader and institutional disgrace. Instead, let us go deeper to examine the corrupting power that lies beneath it all. Amid our shock at what has become of the American church, let us examine the way power works and how the church is called to live under a different power, on the right side of power of the one who reigns until all have been made subject. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 25. This is the invitation of this book. Why does this keep happening? In recent years, many books have narrated the history of evangelicalism's abuse of power and the destruction it has wreaked on people's lives. Jamar Tisby's The Color of Compromise described the history of evangelicalism's and its predecessors' complicity with slavery and racism. Anthea Butler's White Evangelical Racism accomplished a similar feat. Kristen Koeb's de Mez's Jesus and John Wayne detailed the evangelical church's cultivation of a toxic masculinity and patriarchy within its own culture and politics. Kevin Cruse's One Nation Under God told the story of evangelicalism's and its immediate predecessors, leaders joining with corporate economic power to gain the control necessary to lead a Christian nation. John Fea's Believe Me outlined the evangelical church journey to align politically with Donald Trump. These are just a few of the books that have been published within this genre in the last decade. They all expose, in horrific detail, the history of evangelical Christianity's complicity with abusive power that led to hideous cultural sins. These complicities, once revealed, leave us incredulous, asking, why does this keep happening? Are these examples of just a few bad apples in evangelicalism? Or is there something woven deeply within the fabric of evangelicalism itself that leads again and again to these moral failings? Are these examples of Christianity or apostate heresy? Or is naming something apostasy just an easy out? Is there a problem in the design because this same apostasy keeps happening again and again in the name of Christ? In this book, I seek to answer these questions by asserting that it is evangelicalism's, as well as many other past historical Christianities, complicity with worldly power that has led to its present demise. It is the church on the wrong side of worldly power. But just as important, when the evangelical church has been on the right side of God's power, in submission to Christ's power by the Spirit, some of the greatest social revolutions in history came forth. Unfortunately, evangelicalism